All right, let's just dive right in. Think about your time in school for a second. That smell of the classroom, listening to a teacher drone on, that pit in your stomach during a pop quiz. We're all told this is the one and only path to success. But have you ever really stopped to ask if that path is even pointing in the right direction anymore? What if the very system we spent our entire childhood in wasn't built for the world we actually live in today?
Look at this number, 13,000. That's about how many hours the average person spends sitting in a classroom before they get to toss that graduation cap. 13,000 hours. You know, in that amount of time, you could become fluent in a couple of languages, you could master an instrument, or heck, you could build a business from the ground up. So the real question is, what was the return on investment for your 13,000 hours? And this quote, this really gets to the core of it all. Just let that sink in. The whole point, the original design, wasn't about making you exceptional. It was about making you predictable, manageable, a nice, neat little cog for a machine that, frankly, doesn't even exist anymore.
Now, to really get this, we've got to go back in time, back to the Industrial Revolution, because that's when the blueprint for our modern schools was actually drawn up. And the goal back then? Well, it wasn't to create artists and innovators. It was to train a whole bunch of obedient workers for the factories. Seriously, think about it. That school bell ringing to change classes? It's basically the same thing as a factory whistle telling you your shift is over.
And this comparison on your screen just lays it all out, clear as day. The factories needed workers who showed up on time, so schools gave us bells. They needed people who could memorize and follow instructions without asking questions, so boom, we got standardized tests. They needed everyone to be the same for the assembly line, so we got uniforms and detention for anyone who dared to be different. It's a system designed to stamp out individuality. And here's the problem, right? We're trying to navigate this incredibly fast-paced, creative 21st century world using an operating system that was built for the 19th century. The factories are gone. The world is completely different. But the blueprint for school is pretty much the same. It kind of makes you wonder, why are we still using it?
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's break down the three biggest ways this old, outdated system is actively holding us back. And these aren't just little glitches, they are deep, fundamental flaws in the design.
First up, and this one is huge, the system teaches us to be absolutely terrified of failing. You remember that feeling, right? Getting a test back, just covered in red ink? That big F wasn't treated like, hey, here's an opportunity to learn. No way. It was a judgment, a label. So what do you learn? You learn to play it safe. Don't raise your hand unless you're sure. Don't try anything new, and whatever you do, do not get it wrong. But here's the crazy part. The second you step outside of a classroom, the rules completely change. In the real world, failure is just data. It's feedback. I mean, the guy who invented the Dyson vacuum, he made over 5,000 prototypes that didn't work. Each failure was just a piece of information that got him closer to the one that did. The system literally trains us to fear our most powerful tool for growth. Okay, the second major failure. It rewards being quiet and compliant way more than it rewards actual thinking. You know the good student, right? Sits still, does the reading, and just repeats what the teacher said on the test. But the student who asks, but why? Or what if we did it this way? They get labeled disruptive. We're being trained to be really good at following the rules, not making them, or breaking them when they need to be broken.
And this is just so true. Life doesn't come with an answer key. The really messy, important problems we all face in our careers, our relationships, you name it, they don't have a simple multiple-choice answer. They require creativity and challenging assumptions. You know, the very skills that school often tries to iron out of us.
And failure number 3 might be the most practical one of all. There is this massive, gaping hole where real-life skills should be. We spend hours learning about the quadratic formula, but not a single day on how to file taxes or build good credit. We analyze poetry, but don't learn how to manage anxiety or negotiate a salary. We learn all about history, but nothing about how to actually build our own future.
And all this leads to a condition you could call life illiteracy. It's why you see people who are straight-A students struggling with debt or brilliant academics who just can't seem to manage their relationships. They got the book smart, sure, but they were never given the guidebook for life. Just think about it for a second. What's one area of life illiteracy you've had to teach yourself? So, seeing the problem is step 1, but step 2 is where the power is, deciding to do something about it. If the system gave you a broken curriculum, well, it's time to write your own. This is where you stop being a passive student and you become the architect of your own education. So what does this new syllabus look like? Well, first, financial architecture. And I don't just mean budgeting. I mean really understanding how money works. Investing, assets, debt. Second, digital creation. In this day and age, if you can't create content or build a website or write a little code, you're falling behind. It's the new literacy. Third, emotional engineering. This is huge. It's about understanding your own brain, building resilience, and actually knowing how to connect with other people. And finally, value entrepreneurship. Learning to see problems in the world and then figuring out how to build valuable solutions for them.
And here's the key. The entire goal shifts. You're not trying to get an A anymore. You're trying to get a result. So instead of writing a paper about a business, you actually try to build a tiny one and get one customer. The feedback isn't a letter grade from a teacher. It's the real world telling you if your idea works or not.
Now, learning all this new stuff isn't enough. It takes a deep internal shift in how you even see yourself. It's about changing your identity. So as we look at this next slide, I want you to honestly ask yourself, which one of these sounds more like me right now?
This slide just puts it all out there. The passive student, they wait for someone to tell them what to learn. They're scared of making mistakes. And what they really want is that gold star, that good grade, that external approval. But the active learner, they make their own curriculum. They actually hunt for mistakes because they know that's where the real learning happens. And they're not looking for approval, they're looking for results. Look, this isn't just some theory. This is about all of our lives, our shared experience. And the only way we start to move forward is by talking about it, by sharing our stories and realizing, hey, I'm not the only one who felt this way. So I want to officially invite you to do just that.
So I want you to really think about this question. Of those 3 big failures we talked about, the way it punishes failure, the way it teaches compliance, or the way it ignores real-life skills, which one of those hit home the hardest for you? Jump into the comments and let me know. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today.
And hey, if this whole conversation sparked something for you, if it made you see things a little differently, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It really helps. And if you're ready to start learning the stuff they should have taught you in school, then make sure you subscribe, because that's what we're all about here.
I want to leave you with this last thought. Those grades you got in school, they were just one opinion from one system at one point in time. They don't define you. Your life right now is an open book test. And the best part is, you get to write the questions, you get to find the answers, and you and only you get to decide what an A looks like. Now go out there and earn it.